but I've obliterated my fair share of objects in my life. Keyboard, GPSs, PlayStation controllers, mouses, headphones, laptops, furnitures. Recently I had a couple of guests in my place to watch the World Cup game, and I had a little bit of an issue with the remote control. I couldn't get the batteries out of there. Before I start the video, guys, I would like to mention that in my family, none of us are quite normal. In Uranus's family, we all have a bolt that isn't really screwed right in. I'll get to it later in the video and you'll understand why. What's up, folks? It's Uranus from Brussels. Welcome to another video. So a question I see very often about testosterone is, will it make you more aggressive and violent? Will it turn you into a raging cunt that hates the world? In other words, is TRT, Roid rage, a myth or not? After all, millions of men are taking testosterone, whether it's in the form of TRT or bodybuilders that are enhancing their physique by using performance enhancing drugs. Now, I've been on prescribed HRT for just about 8 years and I live with high testosterone levels all year round. So let me tell you my story and let's settle it once and for all. Will testosterone make you reach boiling point? Before I start the video, you probably already guessed it. I am not a doctor. This is just my opinion and it's not professional medical advice. Let's get to it. So roid rage is a term to describe aggressive and violent behavior associated with the use of performance enhancing drugs and testosterone. Now, first things first, and there seems to be a lot of deliberate confusion about this, TRT and cycling steroids are two different things. TRT is a medical treatment prescribed by a doctor, and steroids, well, it has different objectives. Now, there is a certain middle ground, and that is where I'm at. Let's not forget, testosterone is an androgenic steroid after all, or at least that's how I see it. I'm on doctor's prescribed TRT. I'm taking 125 milligrams per week. It's a totally reasonable dosage, but I'm a high responder and I'm walking around with elevated testosterone levels all year round. I don't take anything else, by the way. Now, as I said, millions of people all around the globe are using performance enhancing drugs and testosterone, but only a fraction of them will experience these mood swings. Now, why is that? Well, the short answer is it's all on the individual. Some of us are more prone to psychological disturbances or turbulences. That's how I like to call them. Mood swings, irritability, violence, aggressions, moments where you totally lose control. Me, for example, I've never laid my hands on another human being in 34 years. I've never even thrown a punch. But I've obliterated my fair share of objects in my life. Keyboard, GPSs, PlayStation controllers, mouses, headphones, laptops, furnitures. Recently I had a couple of guests in my place to watch the World Cup game and I had a little bit of an issue with the remote control. I couldn't get the batteries out of there. There was a lot of stress, and what do you know, suddenly the thing was in two freaking pieces. Now you're probably thinking this is all because this idiot has high levels or too high levels of testosterone. Well, let me tell you a thing, I was exactly like that before starting testosterone replacement therapy. I had levels of 80 nanograms per deciliter before the age of 26, and I was already really short-tempered. It was already in me. Once I started taking TRT and I went from 80 nanograms per deciliter to 1200 nanograms per deciliter, it really didn't change that much. I still lose my brain from time to time, I break some shit, and then I spend half of the freaking day repairing that shit. My anger is never towards a person, it's always towards an object. I had an accident with my girlfriend's night table the very first day I was making my first YouTube video. I had an anxiety or a panic attack and I smashed her night table right in. Now don't worry, she wasn't there, she wasn't home, I was alone that weekend and it wasn't my proudest moment, let me tell you. But I was already like that before I started TRT. I already had anxiety attacks and panic attacks. I don't know if it's exactly reassuring, but in my family it's exactly the same thing, like something is seriously wrong with us. My brother recently hit kind of a little bit of a boiling point, you know, the kid was crying, the kiwi he was peeling turned out to be completely rotten, and what did he do? He put his fist straight through his cooking hob. He hit boiling points. It happens to a man from time to time. He did exactly the same thing with his laptop when he lost a chess game playing against the computer. Now my brother is not on TRT or Roids. My father once smashed his steering wheel so freaking hard while he was trying to horn for another car that has passed in front of them that the airbag came out of his steering wheel and he had to go to BMW and get that shit fixed. It costed him more than 1,000 euro. Something is wrong or went wrong in our family. My partner already knows that. Even my friends, recently my best friend sent me a picture of his forehead and he had a bloody forehead and you could really just see the PlayStation logo engraved in his forehead because he had smashed his head straight through his PlayStation controller while playing a game of freaking FIFA. Now you might be wondering why I'm sharing this and why I'm exposing my stupidity. Well, I'll tell you exactly why. You remember that bolt I talked about at the beginning of the video, the one that was loose? Well, some people should never be and never take performance enhancing drugs because that bolt can come completely loose and that's when you end up in the freaking news. Now, it's not roids the problem or performance enhancing drugs the problems. No, it's not the origin of the problem, it is the person. Otherwise, every single bodybuilder out there would be in prison and behind bars. This is something men don't like to talk about, of course. What kind of grown-ass man smashes his GPS in when he misses an exit on the highway? Well, that's me, and I was already like that when I had literally zero testosterone production in my body. It's all on the individual. Whatever behaviors you had before taking hormonal replacement therapy or PEDs will be enhanced. In other words, some of us are fucked from the start. It's all on the individual. Be aware of that. If you're going to start testosterone replacement therapy, take just enough to relieve your symptoms and to actually feel good. And if you want to be on a high dosage, that's fine too, but know that you can experience more mood swings, irritability, and so on. I had to stop playing online games because I didn't want to sound like angry German kid, If you do steroids, know that there can be consequences on your mental health, and if you have any behavioral issues before starting steroids, they will definitely be enhanced once you're on. Some people should never be on gear. Ending it here. Leave me a comment to support my channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Subscribe. Thank you for watching. Uranus out.